an appointment in any way, shape or form. The point is, you were promised the earth. And what have you got? Something that might be 0.7 or 0.9 of GDP in 2030? Well, we've seen the farming community collapsing as we speak, losing way more than 3 times that because of international trade prices as we speak. So don't be fooled. Could I just make it very, very clear that my party is pro-trade, but we're pro-free and fair trade. Right? We are not for giving offshore manufacturing the right to compete against New Zealand manufacturers who have to pay for ACC, majorly free education, free health care, and everything that costs to be a modern society. And we are for a market that's fair to our manufacturers and our workers. Because what is clear as daylight from a lot of independent economists is that the working people of this country will lose out. Will lose out. And if this great experiment of free trade, which began in 1984, is so good, how come our per capita income compared to GDP is going not up, but down? You know something, Norway and Switzerland are leading world economies. They don't belong to any trade deal. They don't belong to the European Union. It tells you top-class product and price and values with a smart government across party lines can make a very successful economy. And every Norwegian today would take home in cash 2.5 times more than the New Zealand worker. And yet I'm told they're socialists. Amazing, isn't it? They discovered oil at the same time that the UK discovered oil. One group, so-called socialists, Norway, decided to save all their oil revenue for a rainy day. And the UK Conservatives decided to spend it all up large, and now there's so little left. So which is the economy that you'd want to mirror? The one, like the Scandinavian economies, that on any economic or social indices make the top 7, all 4 of them, on nearly every indicator you've got. Now, the strange thing about this is that when you and I were young, or some of you were younger than you are now, this country was number 2 in the world. Per capita income's number 2 in the world, 10,000 miles away from our market, with a population barely the size of Manchester, building a country the same as the size of the UK or Japan, with every modern facility. And yet these smart aleck newcomers say that we're old-fashioned, that we are sort of dinosaurs, whilst they are out there as puppets to certain economic, international, corporate interests. It's that clean. Yeah. But then be forewarned. You remember the global financial crisis, which was no such thing? It was a crisis of Wall Street greed and fraud. And one of the 5 companies that went down, the first 5 to go down, was a famous company called Merrill Lynch. Whereupon they decided to socialise their losses and asked the American people to put them back on track again. And your Prime Minister got his training there. So you've been forewarned. You must have known a long time ago what would happen here. And one day soon, as he realised the heat's getting too much, Mr. Key will probably go off to Hawaii. And his CV political career will be over. But we will have to stay working and stay on to try and ensure that the products we make are whatever is wrong with our parliament, nevertheless, the decision of your elected representatives. It comes down to whether we, one of only 9 countries that can make the claim of being an unbroken democracy for 157 years, only 9 countries can make that claim, and your country is one of them, is whether we are going to go on being a democracy, whether our sovereignty is still as large as it ever was, and whether when you vote, you do have a say in your future. The attempt under these arrangements, as it was with the multilateral agreement on investment 20 years ago, is to negative your political establishment. And as for the so-called disputes provisions, it is designed for a tribunal of their own making to make the decision. Not your courts, not the Supreme Court of this country, no, a tribunal of their own making. Remember, They seldom meet for food entertainment without their conversation soon turns to a conspiracy against the public. Now, I've got 1 minute to go. Brevity is the soul of wit. What we need to do, though, can I just say something? If you're going to protest about the TPPA, stick to the protest on the TPPA. It's in the good book. If the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who will prepare to the battle? I saw flags up the other day in Auckland saying every old thing. If you are concerned to ensure the sovereignty of your parliament, stick with the issue and ensure that we have trade agreements which are fair, which are equal, which are honest, and above all are in whose interest? Ours. The New Zealand people. Thank you very much.